The other day, I came across a very controversial clip from this attractive Dominican lady. And by the looks of her, she looks like a black person just like me and you. And she most likely is a black person. But the issue with her is she doesn't identify as a black person or African American. She identifies as Dominican. And she's upset with African Americans because we are trying to force her to be black. Listen what she has to say.
Dominicans are not black. We are not black. And no matter how much black Americans cry about it, we are not black. We will never be black. Yes, I look black, but we are not black. And it's just a reminder to black Americans who are so pathetically forcing Dominicans to label themselves as black. We keep telling them we have our own culture. Me no black, papi. They still force it on us. So just a reminder, Dominicans are not black. Period.
Now, that's very interesting, and it doesn't sound so much different than Cameron. Now, remember, Cameron accepts that he's black and probably doesn't denounce that he has African lineage, but he's also saying something very similar. He's not saying that he's a Dominican, and I believe he is part Dominican, but listen to what he says about being African.
Hey, I'm looking at my license. It doesn't have color on it, though. It doesn't.
Because your face is the color now. What year did you get your license? I don't know. Different states have different stuff. Year? We don't even got to go into the license. When you go fill out a test when you're in school and they ask you this, down, and third, this, that, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I know we got to get back to our topics. We already a few minutes in. I'd rather feeling black than African American because Africans don't even with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
And Americans do?
Well, you're American, Mace. You're born in America. When you go to the Olympics, and when I say African American, you go over there, they call us Yankees and all that. They with us, but we're not from the motherland. We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a black American. When we go to the Olympics as a country and somebody black is fighting from the United States, you don't say African American, you say American. You don't even put a color on it. It's an American fighter fighting a European fighter or China or Japanese or anything. You're known in the Olympics as an American. It doesn't matter what color you are. You're an American fighting against somebody from Cameroon or Senegal, whatever. The point being is they don't categorize it when it's world competition, but when it's other, it needs to be categorized. So I consider myself a black American. I don't consider myself African American. And shout out to all my in Africa, much love. But y'all don't consider us real Africans. Y'all don't.
Now, both of these arguments are valid, despite how we feel. Yeah, we know that they're black, but they do have a level of validation. Somebody told me the other day, O'Shea, you're not a real African. And I'm like, well, what is a real African? Well, you were not born and raised on the continent of Africa, so because you don't know African, you're not versed in African cultures or you can't speak a language here, it's hard for you to be considered African. You're just an American. While that could be offensive to me, I can see their train of thought. I speak English like a white person. I was educated by the whites. I look at things in a very European or American way when it comes to certain elements of doing things. So I understand what they're trying to prove. However, let's paint this scenario. Storytime music. Let's assume that the young lady that we're talking about today, this Dominican lady, went over to the Netherlands. She's in Amsterdam, all right? And let's say that somebody mistakes her for a crime that she committed, even though she didn't do it, all right? Now, she's walking down the street and somebody is calling the police on her. Now, what does the white person say? Because the police officers are the dispatcher and say, well, can you describe what this person looks like? She's gonna say, well, this is a lady. She's young. She's about this tall. She's about this big. And what color are they? But she's black. So she'll be the only black person walking down the street. So when the police come and they arrest her, are they gonna say, wait a minute, this person's not black, that person's Dominican? They're not gonna say that. Are they black? They're gonna say that person is classified as black or African. The same thing with Cameron. Now, obviously, there are a lot of African Americans in New York City where he's from, but anywhere in the world, if they don't know an African American, they'll look at him, and if you drop him somewhere like in Russia, they're gonna say, oh, without knowing he's a superstar, that person's African or that person's black. That's how that individual will identify you. Now, in the black world, we have different delineations delineations on who we are. For example, a person from Nigeria that lives in America could be offended if you call him Black American or African American. He doesn't want to be associated with that terminology, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he dislikes African Americans. It could be because he is a Nigerian American. Or you can have a Nigerian American who wants to be identified as being Igbo only. Don't even identify me as an American. Don't even identify me as Nigerian. I am Biafra. I am Igbo. Or somebody from the north of Nigeria. I am Hausa. Don't identify me as a Nigerian. But that's how we look at each other. The issue is, how do those in power look at you? They look at you as the same. And that's something that we need to understand in the Black world. I lived in Poland for many years. When I walked down the street in Poland and people decided to drive by and make racist jokes, and it happened about once or twice since I was there, they said the N-word, and the N-word identified that, hey, well, you are exempt because you're an American walking with the rest of the Africans. No, that's the reason why I started dealing in Pan-Africanism, because I used to be a big critic of Pan-Africanism until I saw it head on. And I had never worked with the African community until I moved to Europe, and that's when I started really building and bonding with the brothers and the sisters, and that's when I realized that we were missing a big opportunity to work with the great people that could also be of assistance to us, and that the rest of the world saw us as something that was the same, no matter how different we saw ourselves. Both things are true. Just think about this. When you see a white person from France in America, do you say, well, that one's from France and that one's from Germany? You don't say that. You're just white to us, right? So whatever bad stereotypes we have about white people, when we see you, we also can look at you cautiously because of what we know about white folks in the past. And white people understand that. They know when you see one of them, you see all of them. That is why white people work together so hard to maintain a certain image. So whenever they come to Africa, they get privilege. Because why? They're white. They understand that teamwork in that. And that's something that a lot of us as blacks gotta understand. No matter if you want to be Dominican, go to Spain. She can be a Dominican in Spain. Want to know what you're gonna think about her in Spain? You are what? You are a Negro. You are a black person. So you should be over there with the Africans. And guess who her new friends are going to be? Africans.
He ain't lying.
They're going to be Africans all day through and through, and she's going to get her Negro wake-up call.
Pow.
And she's gonna get her Negro wake-up call real quick. They're not gonna want you dating their sons. We're gonna be honest. A lot of people that think, well, I'm not black, I'm African, or I'm not African, I'm black. Okay, go to somebody else's group and see what they think about you dating or marrying their daughter or moving into their community. They're not gonna like it. They're gonna identify you as somebody that is not to be there, usually. Then you wanna get upset. So again, as we delineate ourselves because of how we've grown up, that's understandable. Always remember though, to somebody else, you're the same. And when those people have the rule over you, they own the jobs, they own the resources, yeah, you need to real quick try to strategize about how you can change things when you're all black and you're all looked at inferior in comparisons to them. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shadu Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of Fair Use. I appreciate you for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.